The headlines in the southeast today. As Kent County Council leaders demand urgent talks over the expansion of the ultra-low emission zone, the Mayor of London makes a strong defence of his plans.
But what's not right is people from outside London bringing in pollution vehicles, which is causing our children to have stunted lungs, 4,000 premature deaths, and adults with a whole host of health issues from asthma to cancer.
Good afternoon. Kent County Council has written to the Mayor of London demanding talks over the impact an expanded ultra-low emission zone would have on drivers living near to the capital. From August, people with the most polluting vehicles must pay £12.50 a day to drive into Greater London. Well, in an open letter, Councillor leader Roger Gough called on Sadiq Khan to provide evidence which justifies him not including Kent motorists in a proposed vehicle scrappage scheme which would incentivise people to ditch older cars. Well, earlier, the London Mayor had this to say.
People outside London, including Kent and Surrey, benefit from our city. We who drive cars in London pay more than £500 million in car tax, all of which goes outside of London. We as a city contribute £42 billion to the Treasury net, which goes for the parts of the country. What's not right is people from outside London bringing in pollution vehicles, which is causing our children to have stunted lungs, 4,000 premature deaths, and adults with a whole host of health issues from asthma to cancer, heart disease and dementia. What I'd say to Kent and Surrey and anybody else who is opposed to the ultra-low emission zone is work with me to lobby the government for a national scrappage scheme. You should be saying to the government, all of us should be able to breathe clean, and not just those in London.
Oh, we can now talk to our political reporter Peter Saul, who interviewed the London Mayor earlier. And Peter, Sadiq Khan, he's mounting a very strong defence of his plans to expand that emission zone, isn't he?
And he's determined to press ahead with it. I think that's pretty clear from what he was saying just there, in spite of the widespread opposition to it from councils both inside the capital and outside. You mentioned Kent County Council. They're also saying that they won't put any signs up to do with the expanded ULEZ. But Sadiq Khan, I think today, feels quite vindicated by a report that suggests the existing ultra-low emission zone has had a significant impact on reducing air quality. Opponents, though, point to another line in that same report that suggests that the expanded zone will have a minor to negligible beneficial impact on exposure to air pollution. And they also say that within the existing zone, it fails to take into account people's changing habits. So post-pandemic, for example, people using their cars less rather than it having anything to do with the additional charges. I think for the Mayor of London, it fundamentally boils down to a question of health. I put it to him that this is disproportionately affecting people on lower incomes and small businesses. He says it's the poorest families that are most exposed to those harmful fumes being emitted by some of those older vehicles. But this has become an intensely political issue now, with lots of Conservative MPs on the warpath with some of those councils too. And I think the argument's only going to intensify ahead of the implementation of the expanded zone at the end of August.
Thank you, Peter.